Hey, what's up, guys? This is Valentine Lister, and today I wanted to just do a quick overview of the 2022 astrological predictions for this year. What's going to be coming up this year? Is it going to be better? I'm feeling like people are not super optimistic because I was watching the ball drop last night, in Times Square. And usually, like, it's so exciting. People were actually like there again, right? I don't even know if they were there last year with like COVID, all the lockdowns and stuff. But they were sure there this year. And when the ball dropped, everybody was kind of like, nah, like nobody, I don't think anybody's like really looking forward to this year. Um, and I think the name of the game is like, we just want to feel good again. It kind of reminds me of like Monsters Ball, like when you watch that and there's that scene, that scene, right? Very, very Venusian, and Mars maybe together too, right? Because there was like a police officer, so that could be Mars. But yeah, when in that scene where, oh God, I can't believe I can't remember the name of the actress. She's like, I want to feel good again. And they have that like famous, like raw, raunchy sex scene. That I feel like is one of the themes of 2022. And Venus is really going to be the star as well as Mars this year. Um, we've been through so much. Life has been hard. And yes, there's a time to like work through our issues and work through things. And we're going to have to be doing that this year. But there's a point where we just want to feel good again. Like we've been through so much and we just want to like experience pleasure, and we're going to take it and we're going to get it no matter what happens. So beginning of the year, you're probably already feeling it because the big thing is there's a Venus retrograde, conjunct Pluto, like hanging out with Pluto. She will go past, like back past Pluto, but then she's going to revisit again. And the thing is with Pluto, it's bringing up like all of your stuff, like all of like your psychological, emotional, even physical stuff. Pluto, you can think of as, people have said fear, but also like heaven and hell. So your deepest fears, your deepest dreams, everything is coming up. And there's this element that I've been seeing of like our desires getting out of control, especially like when Mercury hit like this past week. There was a lot of like seeing a lot of people um like not being able to control their desires. Like people were overeating, people started drinking, like, which is uncharacteristic of themselves, and just like letting loose, or they were restricting and that wasn't like characteristic, like had control, like, or like step back from things. Or you might be like hearing from old lovers or old friends, people trying to get back with you together. That's the name of the game with the Venus retrograde. It's like old lovers coming back. I actually, when Venus was in Capricorn retrograde last time, I reconnected with my husband. He's the love of my life. And we had some issues. There were some personal issues. I was also dating him when I was 23. So I was like, I'm 23. I don't need to deal with this crap. Like there's other people. I'm going to have other lovers. And so there was nobody else that compared to him. He really is the love of my life. And we've been married since 2018. We reunited 2015. Um, and like, so you may have that happen, but the thing is, you really need to reevaluate like what is coming up. Because the thing is, when I reunited with my husband, I still had to deal with like those deep psychological issues that I had, that he had, and it was not pretty. And so that is what's going to be happening at the beginning of this year. And with Mercury within there, like there's mischievousness in games, and like a real inability to control ourselves, because Pluto brings up these like powerful like urges for us. But then when Mercury is there, like Mercury is free flowing. It's like, let's play with this. Like, let's just like see what we can do. And you can't really control Mercury. You can't really control a Mercury person. You can be, you can bring out some amount of cleverness and stuff, but I'm seeing with Mercury and Venus together, it's like wildness and craziness, along with that Pluto. So so in the beginning of the year, it's like, well, first of all, the first part of the year, all the way through March, actually through April, like Venus things are going to suck, like basically. And that has to do with like, she's the goddess of love, pleasure, relationships, money, comfort, fertility, just like all the things that make us feel good, generally like pleasant, comfortable, and also keeping things in balance. Like we could feel awful one day, but then we have that thing that helps us to feel better. She's on vacation. She's not doing that for us. So it's going to suck, but we're going to try. We're going to try to feel some is good again. And Mars, the god of action, war, like let's mess things up. He has a special relationship with Venus, and he's going to be visiting her the first part of the year. And at first, it's going to look good, right? He's going to be like, hey, baby, I'm here to help you. January 29th, you may feel like you're taking empowered action to get what feels good to you, to finally get that pleasure back. Maybe you feel like you've been giving too much to people and not receiving, or maybe you're receiving too much, you want to give back. But like, he's going to be like, let's get it on, let's go, because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So we're keeping our eyes on Venus, but also Mars. Mars is going to be in his own domicile, in his places where he does really well. Yeah, so he's going to wine and dine Venus. But like, here's the problem. Okay, so like, I'm thinking that's going to be like empowered action with like getting what we want and the resources that we want, again, with like love, pleasure, relationship, money, comfort, and getting those things started, taking action, having more energy to get what we desire in terms of our physical desires. So like with Capricorn, it's like money, resources, and really like securing our place. And we're going to try. But the problem with this year, I'm going to go through, and we are going to feel good. We're going to have some feel good moments, but we're not going to have a resolution to that, but we're going to make some progress this year. So that's the good part. Yeah, so we're going to see some inspired action, but then it's kind of like Mars comes along. He's the malefic. He's one of the bad guys of the zodiac. And, Venus, goddess of pleasure and love. She was she was kind of a mean girl too, but, as a lot of women do, she likes the bad boys. I like the bad boys, whatever. Everybody loves a bad boy, right? So she follows him along, and then he fucks her over, basically. When he goes into Aquarius, he like hands her over to his evil crime lord and like pimps Venus out. And that's how we're probably going to feel when Mars and Venus go into Aquarius. They go together. So like, he's like, hey baby, come on. She's like, okay. And then it's like handing him over to the evil crime lord. And it kind of reminds me, like, it could be like a mafia movie, but it does remind me of like Die Hard. I just watched Die Hard. And where like, like the bad guys take over, like Saturn's like the evil like crime lord, like the mastermind who wants to build an empire, and Mars is the guy who does the dirty work. And then there's like Bruce Willis's, if you watch Die Hard, like there's Bruce Willis's wife, or if you watch a mafia movie, there's always like a lovely lady who's like the wife of the mobster, or is like a prostitute for the mobster, and she's kind of like beaten and bruised, but she can't leave because she's going to die. They're probably going to kill her if she tries to leave, so she has to figure out a smart way to get out. So, but Venus in like, say, Venus in like a mafia movie is doing well with like money, relationships, comfort items, like love and pleasure. But there's this feeling of doom over it. There's this feeling of darkness, like something's not quite right with this. Something's not gonna last. So that's happening when, let's see, about March 6th through March 28th, Venus is going to be enclosed by the malefic. So, so you may see like some, like progress in an area of life that has felt stuck. Like you feel like it's going good, but it hasn't quite like blown up. So for me personally, Aquarius hits my third house. I'm a Sagittarius rising. So it's kind of like with my career, like with my YouTube channel, like social media, like my channel's doing well, but it's definitely not like exploding or anything, or like going viral or anything, but it's doing well, and it's going really, really slow compared to like friends I have or other people I've seen. And it's good progress. Like, I'm going to keep going. I know it's going to get better. But like, it's not there yet. And so something might like blow up or happen, and it doesn't feel good, but it is progress. And it's kind of like you have to like selling your soul out. So maybe I'll sell my soul out for YouTube. And like for my husband, like he's Capricorn rising. So it's very slow going with like finances and money. Like he's made certain investments that are going well, but it's going real slow. And so it may like take a downturn in March. So we're probably going to see that like, yeah, where we feel like screwed over, like this isn't good for us, but we're making progress in our relationships and our careers, not career, well, money. I'm thinking money, so it could relate to your career if it's money. Feeling comforted, having love, having those comfort items, and really maybe having more stability or like implementing an idea you had. I'm thinking even for the home, because like Capricorn, could relate to physical items and the home. Then we have Uranus and Taurus making a trine there. So maybe it's like want to, like, an example of like you want to like live in a camper van and like live a more outdoorsy lifestyle or go off the grid or something, and like you're making progress, but there's some kind of compromise that you have to make that's not great. So that's the first part of the year, um, where it's like almost like we do reckless things to experience pleasure, and we kind of like sell ourselves out and get ourselves into situations that don't feel good, or situations happen to us. It really depends on the house that it's hitting. So if you want to know like the exact house, you'd have to like either know how to read your chart or meet with an astrologer like myself or someone else to really say like where that's going to hit. Okay, so this is where it gets fun into April. So Venus is going to be like all girls gone wild around April 5th. So this is where it's going to be like spring break party. This is where like Venus, who's been with these evil crime lords, actually like gets away from them. She finds a plan, figures it out. So we figure out our plan. Um, and then she goes wild. She's like, I'm free. I'm going to do all the things that I couldn't do. It's kind of like if you were in like a sheltered childhood and you go off to college. Or if like, I mean, I haven't been to prison. Like I've known people have family members in jail. But like, I would imagine if you get out of jail, you're going to be like having sex with like every woman you could have. You might be doing, you might be going on a binger, like, um, like drinking like crazy, like doing God knows what substances, you know what I'm saying? When you get out of jail, like just going crazy, hedonistic and wild. So I'm thinking like after April, like around April, it's going to be like spring break, okay? Because Venus is going to be moving into Pisces where she's exalted. And I didn't really understand Venus and Pisces like being exalted, why she was so special there, until I looked at past transits that I had. And I'm not going to go into like gross details, but that's like when I did some really wild things like with my husband that were like not like really like things that I would do in the past, but I was like, let's try this. Like let's like do like sexual experimentation, and it was awesome. So that's like Venus in Pisces, and she's with Jupiter in Pisces, who is helping us out, right? So we're going through tough things in the beginning of the year, but we do have the sense that there is a higher purpose and meaning. There's a reason for it, and that things will come together at a certain point, but it's not necessarily helping us directly. So we don't necessarily have people helping us directly because Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces is not making an aspect to Aquarius. Um, but Jupiter is also in its own domain. And when the benefics get together, it's like party mode, like turn the music up, turn the music on, let's get wild. So yeah, I think spring break around April 5th, spring break, girls gone wild, first semester of college, like let out of prison. We're going wild, pleasure seeking, hedonistic, free, partying hard. So there's a sense of freedom. So maybe with all of like the restrictions, with, what that we've had to deal with in terms of, in terms of being restricted, like health wise, at like a government level, right? Maybe those restrictions are going to be like completely lifted around April 5th, and we actually get to go out and be free. Maybe the economy improves. Hopefully that's kind of like, maybe it's just a temporary thing. Because I don't think we're going to really see like full changes until next year, 2023. But we're going to get to feel good again around then. And we're going to party like crazy, like that spring, April 5th, probably through July 5th. There's going to be something where like we make a breakthrough, and even if we don't make a breakthrough, we're like, we can't wait for our lives to get together before we feel good, before we really experience life to the fullest, before we really take that chance on that relationship, get our hearts broken, learn from it, but just experience it, right? There is that moment of presence of life is good because I'm here and I get to experience it for a very short time. Life is so short, and that's the feel of it. But it does have this feeling of recklessness and this feeling of rebelliousness. So the other thing that's going to happen the whole year is we have Saturn square Uranus. So Uranus is like liberation and freedom in an area of Taurus, which is secure, earthy groundedness. So pleasure that lasts. So we want to make a breakthrough with pleasure that lasts. And then we have Saturn in Aquarius going, not so fast. You can't just go and do what you want to do. Like let's consider let's consider I don't know, like what everybody thinks, and there's this real like polarization, like you have to pick sides kind of energy that's holding people back from really like being free and not caring what people think and doing what's gonna make them feel secure and pleasurable. Like Taurus doesn't really care about other people's opinions. They're like, this is how I do it, this is what makes me feel happy. Like I'm not even thinking about you, like let's do it this way because your way is probably gonna suck. Yeah, so it's going to be a wild spring into summer. Then it's going to get a little messy. You know, when you start drinking, you know, when you start partying for days. If you like go on I know if I go on a cruise or when I was in college or whatever, you start drinking for a couple days, partying for a couple days. You start getting tired, things starting getting messy. You start getting sloppy, you're getting hungover, you're getting irritable, and you start fighting with people. So think that's what our July is going to be like. A little messy, sloppy, fighting, because people are on a bender, and like that's, you know, it's good for a day, good for maybe 2 days, right? But at a certain point, you got to dial it back and really like tone it down to take care of your body, your mind, and your health, which I think that Saturn in Aquarius might be really like telling us to do. Like dial it back, okay? Because it does have this also like manic energy of like we're gonna feel really good, but then we're gonna start feeling like really, really, really like irritable. Like if you get on stimulants, right? You feel good, and then you start like fighting with people, and it's like you know, you can't stop talking, and you're just like, and then somebody says something to you, you're like, what? And you go and like mess them up, right? Because we have Mars energy, and Mars in Taurus is in its detriment. It doesn't do well, but it's not like Mars in Libra. Like Mars in Libra is more like in the minds, like the mental sphere. So it's kind of like, should I do this? Should I do that? Maybe we should just take a nap kind of energy. Taurus, Venus in Taurus is more like, let's make something that lasts. Let's like create our own domain and kingdom. So things are going to be my way, a certain way. And so it's not so direct aggressively, but it is like very demanding of what it wants and doesn't bend. And also, you know, the thing with Taurus is Taurus energy can be really calm, right? For a while. But then when they get mad, they fuck shit up. It's like the bull. It's like going to destroy everything, right? So Venus and Taurus, you know, energy can be really destructive physically when it is active. And that's going to be around like July 5th. And so now we have Mars squaring Saturn. And it's going to move into a conjunction with the North Node. So it's going to be like on steroids. And so there's going to be this real energy of like that aggressiveness. It could be destructive, but it's also this movement and this pressure to move towards stability and things that make us feel good. But we're still going to be limited, but we're really going to fight to just start making changes. It's kind of like when you realize like you need help and you go to therapy or you start your spiritual practice, like, you know, you need to make changes into your mental, emotional, like physical life, right? And so we go to spirituality, we go to therapy, like we go to our doctor, whatever it is. And that always makes things like super messy and hard and emotional. And like we are a wreck, right? Because all of our stuff that we need to like purge comes up, right? And we have that Pluto and Capricorn trining this as well. All that stuff comes up. And we are a mess at first, right? When we're dealing with stuff that we've pushed down that we need to release, right? And now we have to see it again. And it's super hard, super difficult. And so things get worse before they get better, which is not what we want to hear. Like we think like they're worse, but it's kind of like things get messed up and chaotic, and maybe like there's fighting or like tension or irritability in the summer over like like getting physical resources, having people commit to you with like love, pleasure, relationships, and money. We have, it's like Mars is now in Venus's sign. So it's kind of like that guy she was dating comes back, right? You have this guy you're dating that comes back and is like, I want to make things right. I want to, like do things the way you want me to. And Venus is like, okay. But Mars is not really in his domain. He doesn't know how to love and give pleasure and affection. He knows how to like make shit happen. He knows how to fight. He knows how to work. He knows how to be aggressive. So he's not really in his element. So he's trying, but he's going to lose his temper from time to time. So yeah. So again, like, things are going to get messy with love, pleasure, relationships, money, like the Venus and Mars things. And but we're going to also try to take some productive action and really give it a go, because with Saturn square Mars, there is going to be productive action, but it might be a little messy and sloppy and not necessarily get us where we want to go. But at least we're taking action. This is like the summer, like in July. And then the last thing I want to go over is just Mars is going to go into Gemini, where it's going to retrograde. Okay, so around Halloween, Mars is going to retrograde, right? So we have Mars and Venus as the stars, like getting what we want, right? Taking action on what we want, feeling good. And it's going to be in Gemini. And the cool thing about Mars being in Gemini is that Mars is going to start thinking of creative solutions, and maybe solutions with technology or an innovative plan in order to do things in a different way. So like that's the cool thing. I think we're really going to be innovative. We're going to be thinking of solutions in a new way, and we are really going to be trying hard to change our lives and get some sort of stability. And I think there's going to be a lot of productive action. So we have 3 Mercury retrogrades happening. And the interesting thing is they're all like starting in an air sign and then moving back into an earth sign. So the first retrograde of the year is going to start in Aquarius, go back to Capricorn. The next one is going to start in Gemini, go back to Taurus. And then the last one is going to be Libra, go back to Virgo, where it's exalted. Mercury is exalted in Virgo. And so we have this energy of like we're thinking up like all these different possibilities and solutions, and then thinking about how to practically implement them, which is like, I think like the coolest thing ever. And then we have the eclipses going through Taurus and Scorpio, so the North Node in Taurus. And now with traditional astrology, we're not thinking of the nodes the same, but we're going to have the eclipses happening there. And with eclipses, real change happens. So we're going to be shaken up to our core with things that have been long-standing, things that we consider stable, physically stable in Taurus, things that give us physical pleasure that we know we can always go back to, right? The home we always can go back to, that now we're not going to be able to go to anymore. And then also going through Scorpio, which is a Mars, like a fixed feminine water like sign ruled by Mars, which is how we fight things, like how we approach things, and really defend ourselves, and how we approach like our inner demons. I think of Scorpio as like inner transformation, like how we approach the way we deal with things to protect ourselves, the way we deal with transformation. So I do think we're going to see like big transformations in things that are stable, but then also creating a new stability, things that give us pleasure, but also help us feel like we have power over our lives and that we're feeling productive. Yeah, so in summary, I think the name of the game is we're going to figure out like what pleasure really means to us, and we're going to figure out how to get it. And it's going to be messy, it's going to be crazy. We're not finishing college yet, we're not riding off into the sunset this year yet. But we are going to, I think, experience life in a deeper way. We're going to be experimenting with, like what pleasure is. We're going to be figuring out how we can do things, like how we can take action and really get creative about it. So I think this year is a year where we find ourselves. And I think we're going to have some feel good moments. Um, and I think it's a year where you're going to have to really fight to have that hope and really challenge yourself to be present and immersed in the present experience. Um, and really not think totally about the future, but really be present in your body and really be willing to deal with your issues around your fears of material security. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, just a reminder to like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. Please share it out if you enjoyed this video. And I will make sure to put some videos at the end that I think you like and some playlists and stuff. All right, guys, see you soon. Love you. Bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.